Maria went back and forth between the States and Mexico. She was a mule, the link between Bacon and Jose. Bacon and Maria agreed that their arrangement was strictly business, but after fucking him the night of the cruise, Maria had gotten addicted to the dick. She didn't care if she was a mule. As long as Bacon mounted her like one, it was well worth it. Foxy was good, but Bacon needed a woman's mouth to work to suck his dick, and he craved some pussy to eat. Foxy had begged him to fuck her in her ass, but Bacon was waiting for the right moment. It would come soon enough. He was glad he had another pussy to put up in. But he kept thinking about Red. Maria was cool, but she had her own money. She couldn't hold down being wifey very well because she was very opinionated and had no loyalty. Red, however, knew her role and played it well, but loyalty wasn't a part of her vocabulary. She was out for one person and one person only, the notorious R.E.D. "Hey, Papi," Maria said as she walked through the door of Bacon's house with two shopping bags from Tappers and one bag of groceries from Hiller's Market. She strutted over to him and pursed her lips. She brought some product to town and decided to stay for a few extra days.
You get that taken care of?
He asked as he reciprocated with a kiss.
You didn't have any problems, did you?
He took the Hiller's bag and walked to the kitchen. Maria walked behind him and watched him put up the food. No problems at all. There was no questions asked, and no one really even looked there. No one really even looked at these. She handed him two small plastic cards and a fat green banking pouch. Bacon loved how she was down for him. Red was never this loyal to him. She slurped on a strawberry banana smoothie she bought from the deli at Hiller's, and Bacon instantly became aroused. Her head game was right up there, running neck and neck with Red's. Bacon started to miss how Red's pussy felt because it had been a long time since he had been up in her creamy walls. But Maria was a different story. Although she was Jose's connect, she served her purpose well. Bacon didn't want to get too close to her because he knew it would only mean trouble. But this was business, and business has to be taken care of. Fucking was just an added bonus. Maria saw how Bacon looked at her. She sipped more on her drink and allowed some of it to dribble on her lips and onto her cleavage as it was exposed by her soaked blouse. Bacon walked over to her.
Let me get that for you.
He licked the sugary substance off her chest. Ooh, Papi. Moving his head lower. You do that so well. Bacon took her cue and lifted one of her heavy breasts out of its holder and began circling her nipple with his tongue. Maria did her best to unbutton her blouse to give him full access. Bacon loved Maria's breasts. They were firm and more than a mouthful. Way more than what Red had. Maria somehow managed to slip her skirt down and it was now gathered around her ankles. She stepped out of it. Bacon smelled her familiar sweet pea scent and looked up at her. She smiled devilishly as he lifted her up and sat her on the center island of the kitchen. Maria spread her legs to give Bacon a clear view of her pussy. Hungrily, he buried his head in between her legs and began to lap up her juices while she fucked his face. Nearing the brink of an orgasm, Maria became forceful. Fuck me now, she demanded, pulling his face away from her pussy, grabbing toward his manhood. Bacon's erect penis was already peeking through the opening of his boxers, so it was only a matter of seconds before he dipped into her honey well. Bacon enjoyed the way her pussy grabbed his dick like a vacuum.
It must be that Mexican shit,
he thought. He had been in a lot of pussy before, but none compared to hers. Not even Red's. Bacon knew that Maria came before he got his nut, and he was pleased with that. She wore herself out, attempting to keep up with him, but just as he was about to break it off to her, he cupped the bottom of her ass and pulled her toward him. Bacon coated the inside of her vagina with cum and continued thrusting until he was completely drained. Maria wiggled around to make sure that she received the last drop. Bacon withdrew himself and watched as their juices flowed from her pussy onto the plastic cards that she had given him earlier. He forgot that he had it in his hands when he lifted her up on the countertop. Maria looked down, in between her legs, and then looked up at Bacon. "That's all you had?" she teased. "I want more." She hopped down off the counter and headed down the bedroom, singing, "Come on, Isidore, I have something for you." Bacon laughed out loud. His eyes zeroed in on the Cum Street paper that sat before him. "Lisa Lennox," he read, and then he looked further. "Gomez Realty." He then saw another ID with the name Raven Gomez. Little did Red know Maria had signed a quitclaim deed to her business in the name of Raven Gomez.
If I can't have shit, neither will she.
Bacon thought. Bacon also had an inside connection at a bank that Foxy hooked up for him some weeks ago. Maria was allowed to close Red's Gomez Realty account and open one up in Lisa Lennox's name, into which she deposited the advance check that was sent from Triple Crown. Maria was allowed to close Red's Gomez Realty account and open one up in Lisa Lennox's name, into which she deposited the advance check that was sent from Triple Crown. Maria also drew money from Red's personal account and brought it to Bacon. Maria thought Red would have more, at least 20 G's more, and according to Bacon, she did, but she didn't argue with the teller. The teller received a handsome payout for allowing the transaction to go through. However, she had been skimming money all along as well. Maria didn't leave Red completely broke, though. Bacon opened the money pouch that Maria had handed him earlier. From the looks of it, Red was on the road to paying back what she had taken from him. Then she looked at the bank slip. It read available balance, $1. Fair exchange, a robbery. At the office, Red sat behind her desk, trying to calm down from what she had just been through. Sasha in blue and then dealing with the cop. What could happen next? She asked herself, exasperated. She looked around the office and admired all that she had done. Red had exquisite taste, and it was evident. She had spent a lot of money getting the open house together, as well as the incidentals of getting a business transferred over to her name. Red was used to having her hands on loot any place and any time that she could get it, and now she felt like she was poverty-stricken. Money was not an issue to Bacon, nor was it to Q, until now. Nilla decided to get legit now, she said to herself, concerned with the mere 50 G's that she had left in her checking account. For a bitch like Red, this meant that she was broke, and it wasn't a good feeling. Frustrated, Red got up and did a final walk. "Everything looks good," she said out loud. "I can't believe the whole open house is going down tomorrow." She walked to the front door and opened it. Dusk was settling upon Detroit, and she looked up at the sky. "Thank you, Gloria. Thank you for all you have done. And don't worry, I got it down here." Red placed her introduction packets on her display table and made sure that there were enough home ownership materials and commercial property listings available for her customers. She also placed the latest copies of Ebony and Essence on the lobby table because they featured both African Americans and home ownership articles. Red skimmed through the publications to make sure that she didn't miss anything before she left for the night, and something caught her eye. It was March's bestseller list. Red read through the section. Her eyes widened when she saw Bitch Nilla, Snitch Nilla was #1. "I wonder how much this book has made so far. I only got half up front, but shit, I know there's money somewhere. Red grinned greedily. "I'm about to get paid." "Hi, baby," she said excitedly when she walked into the loft. It was late, and she was glad that Q was waiting up for her. She was floating on cloud 9, knowing that she had money coming from her book. She kissed Q on the cheek, and she gave him a tight hug.
"Hey, baby, where you been?"
he asked.
"I was getting worried about you."
He still cared for her, but his feelings were torn between Red and Chaz. "Getting ready for tomorrow. You coming, aren't you?" Q saw Red's enthusiasm and smiled.
"Wouldn't miss it for anything in the world."
Red kicked off her shoes and plopped on the couch.
"I'm proud of you, baby."
Q told her and sat down next to her. "For what?" She looked at him. No one had ever told her that before.
"Because you really made a big change. You working hard, Red, and I see it."
Red beamed with appreciation. Oh, I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, wait.
Oh, I've been meaning to ask you. Did you deposit the check?
What check? Red was still basking in Q's compliment.
You know, the check for what? The check for 1.6 million?
Red's expression changed almost instantly.
What, Red?
Q asked suspiciously.
You know I'm out of the game. What was it that you said to me at the church? Q, I would trade all of this in for you. I realize it doesn't mean anything if I can't have you. What are you waiting for, Red? You don't mean it anymore? If not, we can cut our losses and go our separate ways right now.
Q was serious. He couldn't allow his pride to be wounded again. Red's quick thinking took over. You know what? She said as she climbed onto him and straddled his lap. I was just thinking. She kissed his neck.
Thinking about what?
Q said, disgusted.
Thinking about what?
Q whispered in Q's ears while she unbuttoned his shirt. Q's little head won the battle again.
I was thinking the same thing.
Q picked her up and carried her into the bedroom. Red was glad that her plan worked. At least sexing Q would buy her some time before she has to tell him about the check. Red was amazed at the torment for her open house. The morning was filled with couples looking to buy their first homes, others looking to move into something bigger. She had to endure bratty-ass unmanageable children who stepped on her new Monte Blanco shoes, while others ran amok and took the magazines out of the racks. She touched the shiny things. She wondered if had the parents known their kids would turn out to be brats, they would have elected to take the RU-48/6 abortion pill. Just as Red expected, the afternoon brought out the ballers, many of whom she had known when she dealt with Bacon. Some thought that she was still with him, but others knew that she wasn't and tried to get up on her. Red's other real estate plans include flipping houses and hustling HUD deals. Red loved the attention, but reminded them that it was business first. After her last potential client left, Red sat at her desk, exhausted. She had began separating the paperwork into requests, inquiries, homes to search for, commercial properties to search for. She also made more inquiries, which would achieve the highest commission. Those would be the ones that she would work the hardest for first. She thought back to a conversation that she overheard when she was writing a contract earlier. Although she didn't know who was talking, the message came through loud and clear.
Hey, what you think about that shit I gave you the other week? Had to check it out on the low, because I want folks to know that I was reading like that.
Quiet laughter.
But anyway, I wish I could find the hoe who wrote that book. I ain't seen her picture on Triple Crown website, but I wonder if she's fine. Shit, ain't no need to be fine. The bitch is paid. Last thing I heard, she made over 100 G's and the cheddar still rolling. I nearly need a bitch like that holding down some legit shit.
By the time Red finished up with the contract, she couldn't find the culprits who had just called her a bitch and a hoe. But her mind was spinning with the information that it now contained. Remembering how much work that she had put into everything today, Red knew that she would actually have to work twice as hard to live the way that she wanted. And this wasn't something that she was prepared to do. Looking at the paperwork before her, Red knew that her real estate experience was half the finesse, that half of the contracts wouldn't materialize. Either people would change their minds or their credit would be fucked up. She knew that high rollers would want some pussy in return for that fat-ass commission. Looking at the paperwork before her, Red knew through her real estate experience that half of the contracts wouldn't materialize. Either people would change their minds or their credit would be fucked up. Contracts wouldn't materialize. Either people would change their minds or their credit would be fucked up. She knew that high rollers would want some pussy in return for that fat-ass commission. Looking at the paperwork before her, Red knew through her real estate experience that half of the contracts wouldn't materialize. Either people would change their minds or their credit would be fucked up. She knew the high rollers would want some pussy in return for that fat-ass commission that she would receive off that purchase. Her left eyebrow raised at the possibility because some of them were endless money pits. Do I really want this? Do I really want to work this hard? She stifled a yawn, and then she thought back to the conversation. Red picked up the phone and dialed. A recording picked up. Thank you for calling Triple Crown Publications. Our office is currently closed. She listened as the rest of the she listened to the rest of the message as she heard until she heard the beep. Hi, this is Lisa Lennox. Red corrected. Could you please return my call on Monday morning? She gave her cell phone number and hung up the phone. She straightened up a bit and then left to go home. Bacon sat outside in his new custom Mercedes Maybach and watched Red walk toward the Range Rover truck that she had been driving lately. He had been sitting watching her for the last hour. The more he sat, the angrier he became.
This dirty bitch really done came up. This dirty bitch really came up on account of me.
He said, looking at her building, while
I'm sitting in the motherfucking cell, wasting away.
Bacon could feel the heat from Red's neck in between his hands and feel her esophagus crunch under his power. Like Tupac said in his record, you can run, but you can't hide. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and Blue sat in his car pondering his next move, while Sasha slept peacefully in their hotel room. He had just gotten off the phone. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and Blue sat in his car pondering his next move, while Sasha slept peacefully in their hotel room. He had just gotten off the phone with one of his street connections and wondered how long it would take before they would act on what he had told them. He and Sasha were due to return to New York later today, but it was also the day that Blue would have to report to Catfish. When Catfish first contacted him about a hit on Red, Blue was down for it. He was still pissed about her fucking up his car years ago when they dated. You can mess with a man, but two things are off limits: his mother and his ride. And Red had crossed the line. However, Catfish didn't know their history. And most of all, he didn't know what Red's pussy felt like. Blue was checking out the situation when he came to her crib and Wild Rock with a plan to kill her then. But Sasha threw a monkey wrench into the plan. She wanted to fuck, and Blue didn't have a problem with it. What he didn't expect was for the pussy-eating freak to get in contact with him afterward. He knew he wanted to get up in that because he didn't do it that night, so he didn't kill her right away. However, if Sasha was a dead fuck, he was gonna get rid of her right after he got his. Time was ticking away, and Blue would have to report to Catfish not only about why Sasha was still alive, but now Red as well. Blue had a reputation for being a ruthless motherfucker, someone who would deliver, but now his reputation was shot to shit because he didn't deliver. Word on the street had it that death was on the head of the woman who indirectly identified in Bitch Nilla Snitch Nilla. I'm saying Nilla the whole time, okay? I know it sounds like really like the actual word. She was the only one who knew the truth about the murders that night, and Catfish felt Sasha had turned on him, so she had to be silenced. The bounty was quite handsome, at 75,000 alive and 100,000 dead. Greed was a motherfucker. Unfortunately, Sasha knew nothing of the book's contents, but Blue did. He didn't put two and two together until the commotion at the restaurant. Blue looked at the hotel and shook his head.
Too bad it had to be you.
He said out loud.
You were down for your boy.
He thought back to his unborn child, and without a second thought, Blue started his car and quickly drove away from all of his issues, and most of all, away from Catfish. Once again, Blue was true Blue to himself. Sasha got up a few hours later after a hotel wake-up call. Quietly, she pattered around the hotel room. After taking her morning pee, she noticed that Blue wasn't in the room. She peeled back the window curtains. It was a gloomy day outside. The forecast called for clouds and possible rain. Downstairs, the room service attendant put the finishing touches on breakfast for room 962. Hey, I'll take that for you, another worker offered. I want to show Rashid around the hotel. Thanks, guys, the attendant said. I've pulled a double, and I'm tired, she spoke through a yawn. No problem. They took the car and proceeded on the elevator to the 9th floor. Sasha heard a knock at the door. Room service, come in, Sasha called out, still peering out of her window. No sooner could she turn around when something that felt like tiny needles pierced her chest, abdomen, and neck.
We Got it, man. Good. We just need to leave tonight to get our money from that Nilla blue. Bitch Nilla, snitch Nilla.
The other hitman looked at Sasha's dead body.
Just don't need him.
They left the room. Red stepped out of the steamy bathroom, and Q greeted her with her usual glass of orange juice. Red didn't have much to say about him because he missed her open house and couldn't give an explanation for his whereabouts. Under normal circumstances, Red would have clowned, but she had other things on her mind. Q slid back into bed. Red noticed it and felt her temperature rising. Another couple of weeks had passed and Q still stayed at home while she worked. But she couldn't let that sway her from what she had to do this morning. She had overslept and was late for an appointment. Another couple of weeks had passed and Q still stayed at home while she worked. But she couldn't let that sway her from what she had to do this morning. She had overslept and was late for an appointment. Red slammed the door hard as she left the bedroom, hoping it would wake Q up permanently for the rest of the day. She jetted out in front of the door and rode the elevator downstairs. She walked up to her car and her cell phone rang. Hello? Lisa Lennox? Red paused for a moment. The name threw her off, and then she smiled. Yes, this is Lisa. This is Cammie Johnson from Triple Crown Publications. How are you today? I was just okay earlier, but I'm doing well now. She grinned from ear to ear like she was on candid camera. What can I help you with? I was calling about the second payment of my book and if I have received any royalties yet. Your checks were sent a long time ago, Cammie informed her. As a matter of fact, I was going to follow up with you again about the sequel to the book. Sequel? What sequel? Red's heart started racing. We spoke with your agent, sent correspondence and a contract, let's see, almost 2 months ago, about the sequel. Agent? Red questioned. I had a one-book deal. I know, but you have had such major success with the book. Fans are clamoring for a sequel. As a matter of fact, we would love to have the manuscript by the end of the next month. We've already begun working on the cover. And wait a minute, Red argued. You're talking like everything is ready to go. Well, basically it is, Miss Lennox. We received your signed contract and started rolling on our end. We just need the manuscript. Red thought for a moment. Shit, I ain't write the first one. What the fuck am I gonna do now? Miss Johnson, where did you send the correspondence to? 3124 Colin May Drive. Red paused for what seemed like forever. Can I call you back, Miss Johnson? Sure, Lisa, Cammie said with hesitancy. Just remember, we need the manuscript by the end of the next month. Can I ask you a question? Red asked. Sure. You know, coming up with that first book took some time. What if I'm unable to come up with a second book? Well, since the contract has already been signed, it's a legal obligation. If you don't produce the second book, you must repay your advances and any additional fees. Hold on for a minute, Cammie said. Red enjoyed the music while she waited for Cammie to return. Thanks for holding. As a matter of fact, you should have gotten another check in the mail yesterday. Today at the latest. Also, if you cash the check and don't produce the book, in addition to what I've already stated, you will owe us what was listed in your contract. I'm sorry, I don't have the contract with me, Red told her. How much was it again? I've forgotten the exact dollar amount. $50,000, Cammie confirmed. The advance we sent you was $25,000. Red's eyes widened. Okay, thanks, Miss Johnson. Red hung up the phone, completely ignoring what Cammie said about a signed contract. Red had two stops to make when she was done with her client. The first was to the bank, and the second was at the house that she once shared with Bacon. I need to get that damn check and his driver's license because I'm tired of Q bugging me about that damn money. Maybe the advance will hold him down and will hold him over until I can think of something. Nilla need to find a motherfucking job or go back to hustling. Maybe the advance will hold him over until I can think of something. Nilla need to find a motherfucking job or go back to hustling. Red's mind flashed to the house and her heart began to race. I need to get up in my house. If shit's there, then I need to collect. But wait a minute. If that little bacon is there, I'd be in danger. Shit, fuck it. I'll just take that chance when I get there. Q stood in line at the bank with the 1.6 million dollar check in his hands. He didn't understand why Red never cashed it. He saw it lying on top of their dresser and decided to deposit it into her account. It was already signed, so why not do it for her, he figured. Next, the teller called. Q walked up to the window. "Hello, Quentin," the woman said.
Carol, I didn't know you worked here.
He didn't recognize her. She wore a long-sleeve shirt, and he noticed that she had grown out her hair, but wore it in a tight ponytail. Her face was absent of any makeup, and Q noticed for the first time how pretty she was. Plain and simple.
How's baby Mikhail?
A look of sadness washed over her face. "McCullough and I broke up," she told him. "He's back with Harry, and they have their own place, but our son is doing well. McCullough's raising him. He's growing and doing better than any of us have expected. All due to the grace of the Lord Almighty." Q nodded. He remembered Mikkel telling him that she went off into this religious kick, but didn't realize how much until now. "So what can I help you with?" Q handed her the check.
I want to deposit this into Red's account. She's already endorsed it, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Kara looked at the check. "It's the same one that was no good when Red tried to cash it." "She didn't tell you?"
Tell me what?
"A stop payment was issued on it. And I told her that when she tried to cash it. Q hung his head and Kara noticed that his jaw contracted. "Quentin, what's going on?"
I don't know, Kara. I honestly don't know.
This time, Kara wrote void on the check and handed it back to Q.
You trying to say this ain't no good?
"If Red had anything to do with it, I believe you've just answered your own question." He walked away, dejected. Being nosy, Kara keyed in Red's name to make sure everything went through in the transaction that she had processed a few weeks ago. Kara smiled when she saw that Red's personal account still had $1 available. She was being paid handsomely to keep an eye on it. Not long after Red's attempt to cash the $1 million check, Kara was approached by an attractive woman when she was coming back from her lunch break one afternoon. The woman inquired about opening up an account in the name of Lisa Lennox and Isidore Jeffries. Kara told her that the gentleman had to be present. The woman looked at a well-dressed, handsome man. Kara had seen him before but couldn't place where.
Yo, Kara,
He yelled.
let me holler at you for a second.
He learned who she was because the people on the street knew her as one of Red's friends. She looked around and was thankful for customers walking in and out of the bank. She timidly walked toward him. "Do I know you from somewhere?" She wasn't sure if he was one of the men that she had fucked before. She finally came up, but she was about to find out.
Depends.
He said.
You know Raven Gomez?
Kara turned and attempted to walk away. She didn't know what she was getting into, but she didn't like the sound of it. Bacon ran up to her.
Chill, Ma. It's all good. You the Kara who knows her, right?
Who wants to know?
Did you send this letter to me? Or the rest send it?
He showed her the letter that he received from Red, who was adamant that she didn't send it nor was planning on sending it. Kara's eyes welled up with tears. "Yes, I sent it." Welled up with tears. "Yes, I sent it," she admitted, realizing that the man who stood before her was Bacon. Kara was scared out of her mind. "Please don't hurt me. Please send your angels to protect me."
You need to cut all that yakking, Ma. Well,
He scratched his head.
for once in her life, she didn't lie.
Bacon looked at Kara.
How would you like to make some money?
"Sure," Kara answered hesitantly. "What do I need to do?" Bacon gave her one of Red's IDs that she had left at their house. With that in hand, Kara was able to withdraw money from her account With that, Kara was able to withdraw money from her account from another bank branch. Her own personal payday, she mused. Red would come in the bank high and mighty, acting as if she was so much better than Kara. But with every deposit that Red made, Kara took half. Their friendship was like a marriage gone bad. Kara wasn't stupid though. She had an open account at another bank to deposit the money and would never make very large ones. She was very thrilled that someone else was out to screw Red. Maybe the Lord will give me some type of reprieve, she thought. It wasn't my idea in the first place. Kara kept a close eye on Oma's realty account. When she was through with Red, she wouldn't have a dime. Lord, please forgive me, she said under her breath. Red walked into the bank at noontime. She just finished with her client, and before she went to her next destination, she had to check her account. She had to try to check it over the phone. She had tried to check it over the phone, but the phone systems were down. Also, she wanted to throw more barbs Kara's way. Red stood impatiently in the line, 4 people deep. Why do they allow tellers to take lunch at noon? She said under her breath. When it was her turn, she walked up regally to the window. I need a printout of my available balance, she told the teller. Your phone systems are down. You are aware that there's a fee for that, right? The teller responded. Yes, I have more than enough to cover it. Red gave the teller her information. The computer didn't beep. I'm sorry, Miss Gomez. You don't have enough to cover... I'm sorry, Miss Gomez. You don't have enough to cover the printout. What do you mean I don't have enough? Bitch, I got 50 G's. Get out of your account, bitch, and get into mine. Ma'am, do I need to call security? Red had realized that she was making a scene. I'm sorry. A lot of shit has been messed up lately. You were saying? I was saying you only have $1 in your account. Red felt like she was about to throw up. Can you check my business account? It's Gomez Realty. The teller punched in the requested information. May I see an ID for that? The teller asked. The computer beeped. I'm sorry, the account has been closed. Closed? Red screeched. I want to see a manager. She snapped. Y'all doing something shady up in here. I know I got money. I can't be broke. I cannot be broke. The teller called her manager, who came right over. Red went to the manager's office and explained everything. The manager pulled up a history and displayed it to Red. Miss Gomez, on your personal account, it looks like you've withdrawn almost $50,000 over the last few months. That's impossible, Red said. I had a feeling you were going to say that, so I've requested identification that went along with each transaction. Is this you? He handed her black and white copies of her own ID. Red hung her head. Yes. I'm sorry, Miss Gomez. There's nothing we can do. You have withdrawn the money from both accounts. I would suggest you budget better next time. Defeated, Red got up and walked out of the bank. Once inside her truck, she broke down in tears. No matter how hard I try, legally or illegally, I fuck up. I can't live on the average commission I've been making from the agency. I just can't. Red started the truck and began driving toward her next destination. I know I have money at home. I just have to get it. Red drove around the neighborhood in a daze a few times before she parked her car in a familiar driveway of 3124 Colonnade Drive. At her open house, she had relisted the property as FSBO, for sale by owner. Attempting to avoid the problem she had before, Red sweetened the deal by offering personal financing, and she received an inquiry almost instantly. She was due to meet them in 20 minutes. Creative financing to Red meant that the buyer would give her a sizable down payment, and she would secure the funding. What the buyer didn't know was that there was no mortgage on the house, and that every dime that was given to her, she will pocket. What the buyer doesn't know won't hurt them. Red reasoned. Red looked around at the property and winced at the thought of Bacon hitting her with the butt of his gun. Fuck the house and fuck Bacon vows, Red said to herself as she sat waiting outside for her client. After talking with Cammy, Red was anxious to get inside.